So on December 15th, 2007, we had a ceremony with the hair and the leggings. Because I didn't know what to do with them, now I got them back, right? Because they don't belong to me, you know? And while at the same time, there was a DNA specialist, an ancient DNA specialist from Denmark. He came and he said that all his life he had ultimate respect for my great-grandfather. And he said he would like to know if he could do a DNA test on that hair. And you know, with me and my sisters. And I told him, I said, well, you have to come to the ceremony. And he's another PhD, you know. This guy is a specialist, you know. I invited Bill too. I said, you want to come? He said, yeah. He said, I've never been to a ceremony before. I said, well, you're welcome to come. So we cleaned out our basement. We said, okay. So we invited some people to come, you know, that were friends, you know, that was really following what we're doing. So I guess there were 20 people, I think.
42.
Oh, well, about 40 people, I guess. Oh, the whole basement was full of people anyway, you know.
I know.
We brought my friend, the spiritual medicine man, and the drum group in there. And I told Eska, he's the DNA guy, I says, you have to ask the spirit yourself. I said, I can't do that for you. So the ceremony started, and the medicine man had quit smoking cigarettes for 5 years. You know, he quit smoking. And that day it came, he's smoking. Oh, boy, he's smoking. I said, I thought you quit smoking. He said, man, this is the most serious thing I'm ever going to do. He said, just bring your great-grandfather's spirit into a ceremony. And he says, you know, he said, you don't know. Every medicine man alive after him knows that they haven't even scratched the surface of the knowledge your great-grandfather knew. And he says, it is a very humbling experience for me, he said, to bring the spirit into a ceremony. And he was all nervous. And I told him, don't worry, I said, you know, he said, you can say that. He said, because he's your grandpa. He said, with me, he says, I said, don't worry, I said, you know. Well, the spirit came in there, and I told them, the DNA specialist, to ask him, what you want to do? I said, because it's not my hair, it's his. And you know, he talked to him, and to this day, this guy will tell you. I mean, he told the world. He's doing some kind of he was on National Geographic in Iceland or something. He's doing remains they found there, see if they were Viking or native. And he was over doing this, and he was telling this guy who was doing the show, the National Geographic guy, his experiences of the ceremony. I mean, this guy was a scientist. He was a PhD. The ceremony, you know, what we do, that he didn't realize, because most PhDs, like Captain, they're practical, you know. You have to be it has to be wrote down, you know, and they have to read it. Right? And then they have to reread it, you know, and make sure that, you know, what they're reading is right. Well, this had no writing. He tells it, he says, this turquoise, green, blue smoke came to him, and he said if he swallowed it. And he said, man, I mean, he was just amazed to this day. I mean, and I told him, I said, he's checking out. So that was the spirit went inside your body to check your heart, your spirit, your soul, to see if you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And if he knew you weren't going to do it, he would have said no to you, but he allowed him to take his hair, so much of it, so he gave him that. And the rest, he said for me to burn it up, because it's not mine. And do a ceremony with it and burn it up. So he took his hair. And now we're at the cusp of understanding and with this DNA thing, how to, you know, move forward with the desecration of his grave up there on the bank of the Missouri River. We are thinking about doing a discernment of it and doing a DNA test on the bones, because standing around people are saying that's not sitting bones there. And you know, if anybody's ever visited that grave, it's sad shape. I mean, First time I went up there in 1957 with my mother. I got angry because, I hated to see my mother cry. But she started crying and she said, it smelled like alcohol, urine, busted glass everywhere. These people, this is how much respect the people who are standing around the Indian reservation have for my great-grandfather. Yet you go up there and you ask about relatives and they're all related to him. Oh yeah, I'm related to Sitting Bull. And then you turn around and say, you know Ernie LaPointe? And they say, oh yeah, I know him. Sitting Bull was nothing but a lowly medicine man. He was a coward, liar, murderer, wife beater. Oh man, you can, because if you know me, that's what they'll tell you. But if you don't mention me, they'll tell you what a great man he is and how they're related and all that. But you go to his gravesite and you see the evidence of how much respect they have for him. So my goal is to remove his remains from there and put him in a place where he's respected, a respectful place. But my main goal is to do this and want to build I have an organization called Sitting Bull Family Foundation. And our goal is four things. We need cultural preservation. This is one of the issues that faces our native people is a lot of native nations have their cultural ways. And we are hanging on to ours by the tips of our fingers in Lakota Nation. And we need to carry that on. We need to teach it to the future. My great-grandfather said we must put our minds together, see what we can build, what kind of future we can build for our children. Well, this is my understanding of doing it, is preserve what he knew. And the second is the language. There's not too many of us who speak Lakota anymore. They all don't want to learn it or don't care. I think the people in Germany speak Lakota more than the Lakota people on the reservations in South Dakota do. Really, at least they're trying to hang on to something, or they're trying to hang on to something for us. But those of us who speak it, we need to keep that on. And then my third project is genealogy. People who claim to be related to my great-grandfather. I ask them, I say, why do you want to be related to my ancestor? When you could be related, you forget your own. So I don't care if your ancestor was a nobody. If it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be standing here or sitting here. I said, you should recognize and respect your ancestors. This is my ancestor will help you with the Sitting Bull Family Foundation. And then the fourth is the environment. Mother Earth. The practical people are destroying our mother, our true mother. We're not going to have air to breathe. We're not going to have the water to drink. We're not going to be able to leave anything for future generations. And we are heading for something, it might be a losing battle for those of us who see this. But in the hereafter, I want my great-grandfather to come up to me and touch me on the shoulder and say, at least you tried, grandson. This is my goal. At least I'm trying. I'm trying to do something positive for Mother Earth. So this is what we're trying to do with the DNA on the hair. I have so many things I'm trying to accomplish in such a little time. It's kind of hard, My grandfather's. And he said, we were sitting there in the shade and he was talking. He was talking to this other guy who was there. His name was Dewey Beard. And Dewey Beard and Little Soldier and my other grandfather, he was a deaf mute. They were sitting there talking. And the deaf mute, he was, couldn't live here. So while he was talking, he was sign language at the same time, so he could hear. And I was a little guy, and I'm around the corner because my mother wouldn't allow me to go over there because we're elders. She said, you don't disturb them, but I could hear him talking. And my mother was sitting with them, she'd always taking them coffee or something to drink and eat. And he was talking about this incident he seen at the battlefield. He said, he seen the soldier, he said, the soldier got off his horse He says, and he took out his sidearm, he says, and he was holding the horse by the bridle, and he shot it in the head and hid behind it. He made a barricade out of his horse. And he, you know, he could see the mist in his eyes. He said, you know, he said that soldier did not, he knew that he would never see that sunset. He was going to die. This was a last act of desperation. He said, what would he have done if they'd have beat us? How was he going to get out of here? He said, he killed the only thing that brought him here. You know, and he said, it was such a time, he said, when a man is facing his ultimate end. And he said that was, it's really, he said, it was really sad, even though they came to kill us, he says, and we're killing them. He said, this wasn't our culture. We were not, it was not in our, I guess, DNA or whatever, our heart, he says, to kill somebody for nothing, you know? He said, because it was just, you know, well, I never understood it until I went to Vietnam. Then I understood what he meant. You know, I really, truly came from there with a new outlook at life for 40-something years now of, you know, I always say there's got to be another answer to war. There's got to be another way of settling issues. Sit down and negotiate terms, you know, and you know, that I think that was our downfall, because we were trying to, my great-grandfather was always trying to negotiate with the government. And he always said he didn't trust her treaties, or he didn't trust these things that they did because they never attempted to earn his trust. And that's one of the issues that I even look at now. It's really hard to trust people. You know, you have to earn my trust before I can work with you, do anything. You know, and as a matter of fact, this DNA thing, this guy from Denmark, he's blabbing it all over the country, so I'm having all these movie producers calling me and saying, do your documentary or movie. I had the History Channel, I had the National Geographic, International. I had another guy from somewhere, he was with some big company. They're all offering, well, we'll come and do your show, you know. And I said, you haven't even asked me for anything, just, you know, and do this. And this is how I'm going to do, I'm going to write the script, you know. I said, you cannot script oral history. How are you going to script it? I said, it's just the same old again, you know. The same old thing you've been showing back, you know, like in the 50s, you know, where we come riding off the hill going, oh, and riding around in a circle and getting shot off the horse and stuff. You know? I said, this is the kind of story you're going to tell again. No. I said, we're going to tell you your story. I said, yeah. Earn my trust first. I said, you understand what that means? Yeah. So I said, okay, explain it to me. How are you going to earn my trust? Well, he says, I can give you $10,000. You know, I said, I need trust, bud. I said, you ain't taking I ain't taking your 10 grand for my story. I said, you know, why? Why do I think money is more important than telling the truth, you know? So it just, you know, it's just so now I think we're going to do it ourselves. You know, we were thinking about doing this anyway in 2007. I told Bill, I said, we got to do this.